Welcome to Critical Hit, a Major Spoilers podcast. Thank you so much for downloading and listening to this episode, and most importantly, thank you for joining us. We enjoy having you here, and I'll be honest, I get a kick every time I see people talking about Critical Hit on Twitter, and they use the hashtag Critical Hit tag, and it's great because so many people have some very, very, very nice things to say about everyone who is on this show, and I'll be honest, it makes me feel good, and I'm sure it makes everyone else feel good, and it's good to know that so many people are enjoying what we do here. So, Sam, we are headed back to Redemption, I believe.
I believe that's what you were doing last time.
On Critical Hit.
Oh,
these guys.
Critical.
I wasn't prepared.
Oh, okay.
You said it too fast.
You are not prepared.
She caught us off guard. We were caught flat-footed. Surprise round.
Can't do that. We all rolled a 2 for initiative.
All right, Sam. I think we'll just turn it over to you. And
all right, sounds good. So yeah, you guys had been
on Critical Hit.
The Inn in Perdition, where you'd had a encounter with a person there who had some things she wanted to say to you.
Curse her.
She was
and
bad.
then
She's already cursed, dude. Did you see her face? She's got like fangs and evil red eyes and like a unibrow and one nostril.
I don't think that's true. Well, the fangs.
Yeah, she was actually quite striking. She does have fangs, so they're fairly subtle.
Are you telling me that a man with a unibrow and one nostril would not be striking?
Not so much. I mean, I guess if you're into that, who am I to really, put objective standards on beauty? I mean, he'd be striking. I guess it just probably wouldn't be,
Don't go down this path with him, Sam. Just move on.
Okay.
This is a good point to no sell a Matthew joke.
All right. So you guys had that interaction, and that was actually early in the evening since you'd arrived from visiting with Noctley, and so I assume you guys wanted to get some rest.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea.
Cool. Then the night passes this time uneventfully.
Phew, thank goodness.
No ghosts out of the woodwork.
No ghosts this time.
Just werewolves.
And then, come morning, what do you guys do?
We'll assemble at the stables.
Yeah.
Cool. The innkeeper will send you off with some breakfast.
Oh, that's nice of her.
That's very sweet of her. We're going to tip her well again.
Yeah, large tip.
That's good.
Bonus to tipping.
The least we can do.
Do we have any plan on what we're going to do when we get back to Redemption?
Yes, we should definitely discuss how we're going to approach the situation.
Honestly, I think it would be good to check in with Mr. Palmer. Let him know what's going on.
Yes.
Are we certain we can trust him?
I mean, I don't know why we wouldn't.
His goals are diametrically opposed to Miller's. He is an ally to us as much as anyone is right now.
And he seems to know more about this situation than any of us. Well, except for maybe Chema, but he seems to know a lot about Mr. Miller and what his nefarious plans are. So I think definitely checking in with Mr. Palmer is going to be important.
Yes.
And I think maybe we probably ought to check in with Mr. Weskerly in case he needs to get the word out to other towns.
I think Mr. Weskerly should be fine. I will be happy to make sure and leave him a message, I think. Don't you agree, Mr. the Judge?
If you think that's best.
I believe so, yes. I am familiar, of course. I am from Redemption. Not unlike yourself. You are clearly not.
What about anyone tied to Weskerly? Do we need to check on anyone?
Yes, we probably should, although I'm afraid I already have an idea that we won't be able to find. The individual they done said they have.
Well, go ahead.
Well, I have a couple of ideas. I didn't know. I was trying to find. I didn't know if we should confide with Dr. Barton if she would be any help.
I believe that would be an excellent idea. I don't know if she would be any help, but at the very least, having a doctor on our side after the fact will be helpful.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know what you think of Maria Rosa. She works for Miller. I don't know if that means she can be trusted or not, but she's been a staple in the town for quite a while.
So what are you suggesting we do?
I don't know if if she could be someone we could confide in to maybe find out some additional information about Mr. Miller's house or any other information she may be willing to reveal, or, if she's working that closely with him, she may be, literally working with him.
Or she may be compromised in ways that we don't quite understand.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so let's put it this way. What is our end goal here?
I think it's to destroy
Kill
Mr.
Miller.
Miller.
Yes.
Okay, so our end goal is to destroy Miller. What are our resources that we have right now to do that?
Me,
Yes.
the hanging
Okay.
judge, you and your shotgun, our friend with the magic potions, and a giant lizard man.
Okay. I believe we can count on Palmer and some amount of help from there, but that will be determined later. What are considerations that we're going to have to take care of before we even get to Miller?
Well, if we need to replenish any of our supplies, any of our potions, any of our powers, any of our, any of those kinds of things that we may have left in Redemption, we'll have to get those.
I think it's more than likely that there'll be Renfields.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe even between here and there.
Yes, along the way.
Especially since it's apparent that Miller knows that we're coming and he knows what we're going to do. So that's why I was wondering if there are others we can call into aid. I don't know, Chema. I don't know what the current situation is with your police or your organization. If there's a need to try to bring in, it'd be really bad to bring troops in from Mexico, but I don't know if there's any others that could be brought in to aid us who might have some idea on how to deal with this guy.
No, I cannot call for help. My organization has essentially disowned me. They have actually thrown in with Miller. He has the darkest and most insidious power of all, money.
Well, and that's why I'm concerned about the people of town, because if you saw the turnout to his event and you saw him going around and meeting and greeting people, and you saw what happened to Mr. Miller's wife, he could have somehow unduly influenced or infected other people in town. I don't know who we can trust.
And that is what I am getting at now, is that he actually doesn't have to have infected or mentally influenced anyone. If we are going in to shoot dead a pillar of the community, we are actually swimming against the current. We are going to have to deal with law-abiding townsfolk, and we are going to have to deal with the law.
Yes.
If we if we ride into town and break into Miller's home, we're going to have a shootout with the sheriff, his deputy, and however many people are in the Redemption Police Department.
So do you think we need to draw him out of town?
No, I don't think we can do that.
Yeah, I don't.
But there's probably a way to occupy other people, which is something that we might have to figure out once we are there. We don't know what we are going to find, but it's something that we have to keep in mind.
And I think that if we're going to be operating in a time-sensitive manner, we don't have the option of waiting for reinforcements or assistance.
That is true.
Regardless of whether we have the resources, which we don't. So,
Well, then we know that there's one main goal that we have when we get back into town, and that's to get to our respective locations and replenish any supplies.
I think perhaps, as much as I'm loath to suggest it, we may want to split up and each of us attempt to contact one of the people that we wish to.
I think that is too risky. If we separate once we get into redemption is Miller's stomping ground now. Especially at nightfall. If we are separated, we are vulnerable. So I would suggest that we get to Palmer's, make contact with him, especially if there is a way to get to Palmer's without actually crossing through town. And then consider options over there, see if we can get intelligence from there, other than maybe sending an actual scout, like making an actual scouting effort of sending somebody who is good at sneaking around into town to gather information and then coming back. I would advise against simply going our separate ways.
I suppose that's reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I think we should, suppose, get to Palmer's and prepare from there.
I agree.
Well then.
And ready ourselves for any welcome wagons we come across on the way.
I agree. So I guess we're going to mount up and head out.
Sounds good.
We ride.
If only there were a sunset into which to ride.
Well, there's a sunrise, so
It's not the same thing.
we can ride backwards into the sunrise.
Don't be stupid.
So it's a day's ride to Redemption, and passes relatively uneventfully. You're starting to see again improvements. Things, the plant life seems to be making a comeback. There's more animals than had been there before.
Live ones as opposed to the dead ones.
Yes, they're not raining down on you being dead. And as you guys approach the town, is the hanging judge peeling off, or are you sticking with the group this time?
I think we'll stick to the group since we're going to be heading to Palmer's.
Okay, so you're trying to basically circle around town and go...
Yeah, are we skirting the town?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I agree.
Then,
Is there a way
stick
to
with the
get
group
to Palmer's without actually entering the city?
Not really, because Palmer's place is very much centrally located in town.
Well, probably the shortest distance from the outskirts of town to his place would be best.
Then,
okay.
Yeah, I'll probably
That's fine. In that case, let's Eshin, why don't you ride with the judge and try to skirt around as much as you can?
Okay.
And what are the rest of you guys doing?
I guess we'll stick together and make a more direct route to Palmer's house.
All right, so the standard way you would go getting back into Redemption from the path you're taking from Perdition would be to stop at the stables that's right outside town. But if I'm trying to think of the layout of the town, you could also go on the other side of the town, you could try to go through, say, either Miller or Palmer's work camps, where the railroad workers are, or try to, this will take some extra time, but basically without going, because it would be much easier to go through town directly, you could go towards the boarding house from the other end of town, which is where you would go if you were coming to Redemption from the east.
That may be our play.
Yeah, I don't think we need to stop at the stables. I think staying on the horses might be the best bet.
So you're going to try to wrap around and head towards the boarding house?
I think so, yes.
Yes.
Cool. So yeah, you ride into town. It seems honestly fairly quiet. And then the boarding house actually has its own stables. So are you trying to go there, or are you specifically just trying to ignore that and head towards somewhere else?
Does Palmer have stables at his house?
He does.
Or a hitching post, at least.
Yeah, we'll just head straight for Palmer's house.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
Now,
Park in his garage.
Out of character, I wonder, do we know as a group, and do we have an idea of what we are facing with
What
Miller?
do you mean?
Do we know do we have an idea of what his powers are, or what he
What he
is,
is.
or any of that kind of stuff?
I mean, you guys, I think, had a pretty good in-character talk just prior to about what you think he's capable of. But if you want to go in character and talk a little bit more about what you think he's capable of, I'd say that's probably the best bet. If there's any, say, information that you think you had out of character that you've forgotten since some time, if that's what you're asking for.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's a conversation we should have with Palmer then.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. So we'll just continue to Palmer's house. How eerily quiet is it? Like,
Is it too quiet?
is it quiet like people are hiding because they're afraid there's going to be a shootout, or is it quiet because everyone's been snatched in the middle of the night, or is it just quiet because it's like
A quiet town?
it's Thursday night?
Is it
and
quiet
everyone...
because there's a scary gang of vampires killing everybody, or is it,
You
just like a Wednesday?
Yeah,
You
is
guys
it a
can make
Wednesday?
your choice of knowledge, local, sense, motive checks.
Ooh, I have
Okay.
one of those.
Can I also, or no, since I'm not?
Oh, yeah, anyone who's coming through town.
No. So not so much, yes.
I rolled a 28,
That's okay. I have 0 for
and that was under sense motive.
Well, I have
Cool.
a significant...
Wow,
Sense
geez,
motive for
nice.
20.
That was a nat 20 for Chema? Or 20. What was the nat 20 from earlier?
Oh, that was just me
Futzing
testing
around.
out dice roll.
No,
That was nothing.
you wasted it. So Chema, like, this place has like a tension to it. Something that you've seen when you've been in neighborhoods where serious crime has been committed recently. People are just clearly staying off the street. There's just a nervousness to them. For Russell, you also, know this town a little bit better. You get that same feeling. And then you also, again, notice like a lot of the noise and raucousness around town is often caused by railroad workers, and
Mhm.
you have not seen a single one since you have been in
Mhm.
town.
Are the children still running around playing, or are they also out off the street?
Well, it's nighttime, so there's not that much children running around playing anyways.
Okay.
And if they were, it might be even more eerie.
No, it would be eerie as if they're all standing along the sides of the street, just staring at you as you walk
Yeah,
by,
jumping rope in
without
perfect
saying-
synchronicity.
without saying anything. They just stare at you with their dead eyes as you walk past.
Come play with us forever and ever and ever.
Then the saloon doors open up and there's blood just comes rushing out.
Right. So,
Oh, I can swim.
How
as you
are the saloon
guys,
doors keeping the blood in?
Force
waterproof.
fields.
They're very
Force fields.
polite, but
How are the elevator doors keeping
Yeah.
the blood in? I mean,
how
it's not
how
like...
did they fake the NASA moon landing? I don't know. These are only questions that can be seen by watching The Shining. I mean, The Shining.
All right. Sorry.
So, And then Eshin and Hanging Judge, you guys are trying to like sneak in, basically.
Yes, I think we'll come up behind the stables and deposit our horses there, probably.
Okay. Yeah, make
Just gonna follow his
stealth
lead.
and/or handle animal checks. Well, those are unimpressive rolls.
Wow.
Oh.
Boo.
Oi.
So
So
as
that
you
stack of milk
are
cans is
approaching
not a
the
stealth.
stables, the Eshin, the like horses that you in the stables start making a racket, and you've seen this before. Horses just do not like your smell at all, and they seem to also be picking up on the smell of like the other horses, and there's a fair bit of noise. Which is kind of interfering with your ability to stealth in, although where the Hanging Judge is able to peel off a little bit, and you can, if you want to.
I'm just gonna follow the Hanging Judge because I'm not entirely certain as to why I was sent with him specifically to start with.
Sure.
I am normal looking human.
So.
That.
You are fairly certain that the horses are making a racket, and you see a guy, is somewhat larger guy dressed as looks like he maybe is a stable master. Although you have been to Palmer's house and you've seen his stables, and this is not anyone you've met before, but he seems to be going to check on the horses.
I suppose we should not go there.
Okay.
Oh, man. Would I be able to get to Dexter's?
Yeah, you could try if you want to make a stealth check to.
Can you roll better than a 5 this time?
We'll see.
So I will remind you, out of character, that you were warned that Dexter had been kidnapped.
Yes, I'm aware.
Okay, just making sure.
Better.
All right, cool. So are you going to leave Eshin behind to get to Dexter's, or?
Would he be drawing too much attention if he came with?
I mean, he'd probably have to make
normal looking human.
Sure. It depends. If you're trying to sneakily get to the house and not be seen by anyone else, then yes, he'd have to make his own stealth check.
Okay, I think I will, I guess before breaking off, just kind of let him know just to go drop his horse off at the stables.
So we are going to all split up after
Yes.
all?
And do you know how to get to Palmer's?
Probably.
You were there during the...
Yeah.
You've been there.
Go meet them there. I will make my own way.
Okay.
So I think I'll just try to go to Dexter's and see how bad that situation looks.
So yeah, you can keep that roll because it was a 25, which is pretty good. And you are, this is one of those places that you have been sneaking a fair bit. Though there are definitely you're pretty sure you shake someone who is looking out for this house. You sneak in around the back and they don't notice you, but you're pretty sure if you weren't as sneaky as you were, they would have spotted you. Again, it's this one's a woman that you do not recognize, and the place has been tossed. It doesn't seem to have been much of a fight. Actually, why don't you make me a perception check?
All right. Oh, darn it.
Oh, my goodness.
That was a nat one, people.
Botch.
We sent Brian off on his own because
Because he's the Hanging Judge.
Hey,
Uh,
we did not send Brian off on his own.
Brian went off
sent
on his own.
himself off on
That's
his own.
true.
Yeah, three of us are over here.
I will take this as my first error in command of having sent him off with the wrong party member, but I did not send him off on his own.
That's true.
So yeah, this place has been tossed. You don't see any evidence of a fight at all. As far as you can tell, maybe he left willingly. Maybe you don't know what they were looking for. Everything is so strewn about that you can't piece anything together. Basically, you're just getting no information on that botch.
Okay. I think I'll just tie up my horse somewhere and make my way into town and try to get to Palmer's as quick and quietly as I can.
Are you changing costumes?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I'm probably gonna want a fresh stealth check then.
Okay. Fair enough. Hey.
Great.
31.
You can get through town
The further
towards
away he
Palmer's
gets from me,
house
the better he is at hiding.
There you go.
unseen. That is definitely true.
But I'm obviously distracted.
So those two went directly to Palmer's house. What does Eshin do as when the hanging judge peels off?
He told me to drop my horse at the stables and go to Palmer's, right?
Mhm.
Yes. Which stable?
We were headed to a stable right here, right?
Cool.
Yeah, it's the one right at the entrance to town.
To the boarding house.
Yeah.
Yeah, whichever stable we were closest to, whatever one we were headed to. He did not tell me
Okay.
to go to any other one, so
Sounds good. All right, so everyone basically converges at the boarding house at the I believe it was called the Green River, and except for the hanging judge is moving on. So yeah, you guys are able to deposit your horses at the stables, though the young man who takes your horses is fairly quiet. As opposed to usually he's a lot more enthusiastic.
So the three of us are there at the stables.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We have arrived at the stables.
So we drop him off, and I guess we will start walking down the walkways over to Palmer's, being ever vigilant.
When you get closer to the Palmer's estate, again, you see two pretty tough-looking guys standing outside of the house.
Detectivo.
Yeah, they do not register.
Okay.
Is that good or bad? Do we want them to check?
It's neither. If it does register, then it's bad. If it doesn't, then it could be either. Could just be a non-evil henchman,
Hmm.
or a henchman that's just not evil enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You have to have a certain number of hit dice to register, and so they could be low level and evil, or moderate level and not evil.
Do they
Or
look like
just
they're hinching?
neutral and being paid enough.
Yes.
All right. Well,
Not
Yeah.
as useful an ability as you might think.
Right.
we will approach slowly but cautiously.
Yeah. Dun.
One of them
Dun,
steps
dun,
forward
dun.
and says, "Hello."
Yes, we're here to see Mr. Palmer. It's me,
Palmer's-
Russell Street.
Palmer's not seeing anyone right now.
I think he would like to see us. If you could just let him know that Russell Street and his companions are here.
And he looks at the other guy. It's like, Palmer's sick.
It's probably more important that we see him. If you could let him know, please.
The gestures for the other guy who goes inside. It's like, I don't think you understand. It's not like a cold. He's really sick.
Yeah.
Can I get a sense motive on these guys? See if they're lying. 31.
So he's not lying. He does believe that Palmer is sick. does believe that Palmer shouldn't have guests. But he also, like, the name Russell Street doesn't ring any bells, and he mostly just seems to want to get you guys to leave. And with a number that high, like, he has no particular affinity for Palmer. Like, he doesn't think, like, oh, it's a shame, like, that he's sick. Like, this man is standing here because someone paid him to stand here and send everyone away.
But probably the important thing, it wasn't someone besides Palmer who paid him to stand here. Like, he's not just that tough trying to prevent people from getting in.
So that's a really good question. Yeah, because you can, with that role, no, you do not think Palmer hired this man.
Oh.
Someone hired this man. He is standing here to make sure Palmer does not have guests. He does believe that Palmer is sick, but he's not working directly for Palmer.
Okay.
Someone could have hired him.
Is he armed?
Yes.
Okay.
Is he legged?
When the other guy goes in, does he just like open the door right up and go inside?
He looks at you guys and, like, you know, he opens the door kind of cautiously to try to not, like, leave it wide open, considering you guys are a bunch of big / heavily armed people.
Mm-hmm.
And older.
Oh yeah, is the hanging judge here now at this point?
It's probably lurking over there by that tree.
If I can be there.
Am I here?
So you can. So
yeah, Eshen's here.
Eshen is there. The question is the hanging judge visible and wearing his mask? Okay.
Wearing the mask, yes. I will aim to stay hidden.
Got it. All right. I'll let you just keep your roll from previously.
Okay.
Then. So yeah, he opens the door basically cautiously to try to not give you guys an opening.
Do I see any other guards posted or lurking either on a second floor or on the corner of the house or the porch, anything like that?
You can make a perception check.
30?
Yeah, there's you can see there's a guy that seems to be making a round. He's coming back from the stables right now.
Okay, I give who's standing next to me?
Hi.
Yep.
I'll kind of bump into Eshen and kind of give a slight nod over to the other guard, so that he's aware that person is also over there.
3 tasty morsels. Got it.
When we last saw Mr. Palmer, his wife was also ill. Is she improving?
Guy just shrugs.
I take it Mr. Palmer did not hire you then?
No.
Oh, who hired you?
The sheriff.
Oh.
Sheriff is in the pocket.
Was there an attempt on Palmer?
The guy nods. Yeah.
Oh. Well, that is why we need to speak to him.
How do I know that you're not trying to finish the job?
I'll show him my badge.
He, like, blinks. It's like, you this is far north for you.
Oh, that's right. But as you well know, Mr. Palmer is involved in all kinds of business all across your country and mine.
And I am... go ahead.
This situation is an international affair.
And I'm a simple carpenter.
What does that... Then why should you come in and talk to Mr. Palmer if you're a simple carpenter?
Because I have information that he needs.
Because he is with me.
Look, I got orders. You can take it up with the sheriff.
All right, I'm going to cast something on this schmuck.
Yay.
Charm person.
What have I got to put him to sleep?
Sleep?
Do I have sleep?
Usually the spell that puts people to sleep.
I have days. Oh, I do have sleep. I'm going to put him to sleep.
Does it target multiple?
It does target multiple people.
I'm going to target everybody.
All the
everybody
guards,
as
not
you
everybody.
can.
Oh no, my spells don't affect my friend.
We need a nap.
Oh yeah, they do.
They super do.
But I can choose to only have it affect the bads.
That yeah, you actually can because you have that rod of selective spell.
You gave me a power to do that.
Nice.
But I'll allow you to just you can basically center it in such a way that you can just catch him. The question is, do you want to wait until his friend comes back and try to get both of them?
Yep. As soon as that guy clears the door while the door is open, whacko.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's like 3 editions ago, Matthew.
Can any of us standing there see the judge lurking or not?
His stealth check is pretty good, but if you guys want to make, perception checks to spot him.
Oh, okay. I already did one.
Sure. I'll check my perception.
Oh, yeah. So you don't need to because your perception check did not find him.
Oh, okay.
Because he had a 31 and you had a 30.
Oh, okay.
I'll
Ooh.
check.
Does Dawn know where he is?
That's a
She
good
might be able to
question.
find me, yeah.
Yeah, why don't you roll a perception check with Dawn?
No.
Oh, man. I wasted a 19 on this.
Wow, you would have had to get a nat 20.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wait, does your 19 count as a nat 20?
Yeah,
he has
Dawn knows
he has
where he is.
vorpal eyeballs.
Yeah, keen senses.
Keen senses. That's great.
So yeah, with
Nice.
with
Yeah, that's
scent,
great.
Dawn seems like somewhat agitated and is like looking off to the woods, but she doesn't like, you think that there's something that she's looking at, but you're not sure what it is.
She scratches a picture in the dirt of a man with a long nose.
So I've seen the perimeter guard. I've indicated to Eshin that there's a perimeter guard. Does the hanging judge notice a perimeter guard?
You wouldn't know.
I know.
He had already spotted that guard actually when he was trying to stable his horse.
Okay, all right. I'm just making sure that if Alder is attacking 2 guys, that the third guy who's walking around doesn't see that and suddenly start raising an alarm.
Okay, so I'm going to slightly whisper, and he comes back.
Should we wait and see what the answer is first?
No, we should not. When he comes back, they are all going to go to sleep.
So, as if on cue, the other guard opens the door and is like clearly about to say something when, I believe a sorcerer casts sleep.
Alder reaches into his pouch with blinding speed, brings out a small handful of sand, and blows it literally at them.
Sweet.
And it goes whoosh.
Well, that is not gonna make your will save, so they both just fall down.
Go, gentlemen, go.
Grab the one that's in front of us. Carry him up to the porch. Sit him down in a chair to make it look like he's on duty.
I'll point to Eshin to grab the other one and bring him inside.
Okay.
Close the door behind us.
I'll grab the door before it closes so that everyone can come inside.
And a vigilante burst in.
Dun, 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 dun. Holy crap, it's a vigilante.
Okay, hopefully there's no guards on the inside.
That's okay, I'll put them to sleep too.
Can you?
So
or to fire.
So we're inside, Sam, all of us.
All right. You do not see any additional guards. The house is as you had previously seen it. The first floor appears to be empty.
Okay.
Lock the door behind us.
Yeah, lock the door behind us. Put the sleeping guard laying down in the parlor room on the lounge chair.
On the fainting couch?
Yeah, the fainting couch. That's what I was thinking.
Does he have a gun?
Yes. Disarm if so.
Yes, he does. They both have guns. Okay.
I'm going to take a gun.
Okay.
Cool.
I have no need for guns.
I have his gun. I have a gun. It's going to be awful.
Quietly just reach out and take the gun from Alder. No, you really don't need this. Your powers are best used in other places.
I turn to you while pointing the gun.
No!
What are you talking? I don't see.
I just take the gun and disassemble it.
These things
a
are not.
gun might be helpful for you if you need to get ranged.
Alder
Gun.
can land touch attacks. I'm sure his
I'm good.
gunfightering is not that bad.
All right. We move upstairs.
As you
My
head
gun?
up. As you head upstairs, you hear Mary Palmer saying, "It's like, is something else the matter?"
Go to her room. Ma'am, it's
Ah!
ma'am, sorry. It's Russell Street, ma'am.
What are you doing here?
Well, we have urgent business with your husband that I know he's not well, but it's imperative that we see him, and it might actually help him.
An understatement. She actually gestures, and lying in there's a bed is William Palmer. He appears to be. He is in rough shape. His muscles seem to be like spasming, and he is under a blanket and sweating significantly, and seems to be breathing very shallowly.
Step aside so Chima can take a look at him,
I take a look at him.
and also for
Alder and
Alder
Chima
to
get
also take a look at him.
Cool. Make heal checks.
I will take a lower look at him.
I suppose
Actually,
so.
I think I will probably make a profession herbalist check. Doesn't that seem more appropriate?
Sure.
Yeah, since I, don't have heal. How about 20?
Cool.
14.
So Chema gets this is clearly bad. Whatever is causing this muscular distress is going to kill him. He will eventually not be able to breathe. And Alder he has been poisoned. You're fairly certain that this is strychnine.
Oh, what have I got to deal with that?
That's a very good question. My gut is that potion of remove poison I gave you guys a while back.
Hey!
Good call.
You are perfectly awesome. You know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to take the potion of remove poison. Or anti-poison. I'm going to feed it to him.
Or Uncle Poison.
She, his wife is like, what are you giving him?
So don't worry. I know what I'm doing.
Antidote, ma'am.
Okay. She sits down, and as you pour it down Palmer's throat, he spasms significantly, and then the spasm seems to quiet down, and his eyes flutter open.
Mr. Palmer, it's us, Russell.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Where have you all been?
Been fighting some bad magic and trying to end the curse, and I believe we've taken care of part of it.
We believe we've taken care of at least the blight, but there's still some things that need to be addressed here in town.
Can we talk openly in this room, or should this be a private discussion between us?
Says you can speak freely in front of my wife.
I'm gonna do a quick detect evil on both of them, just to be sure.
Yeah.
No sign of evil.
Okay.
It's super evil!
I don't know if a detect undead would be worth doing here, because you never know. Death may be lurking at the doorway.
It's an at will, but you do
No,
not
just
detect
me.
any ghosts or undead.
Okay. We believe we've stopped the blight, as Alder said, but it's Miller that is the problem now.
He sits up. He still looks a lot better, but still is not looking great. And his wife starts basically takes gives him some water that he drinks. It's like, yes, I don't know what you did that set him off, but things have gotten bad here.
How bad?
Well, he there was this attempt on me and my wife.
Mm-hmm. We've been contacted multiple times by Miller and his
cronies,
associates, crew.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows we're coming or that we are already here.
Yes, that's not surprising.
Do you know what he is?
I thought I told you he's a vampire.
Right. But, like, how powerful of a vampire?
I don't know. As I said, I was hoping that your mother could educate me. This is her area of expertise.
Yeah, she's
recuperating.
Recuperating, yes.
I'm glad she's okay.
Well, if it hadn't been for the fast actions of these good men, she probably would not have lasted.
This has all gotten quite out of control.
That's a bit of an understatement.
Hey, Sam, I have a question.
Yep.
It's a potentially sad question.
Mhm.
Was Palmer's wife pregnant when we left her?
Yes, she is still pregnant.
Okay, good. Good. Carry on.
I wasn't going to ask.
Yeah, she is still very pregnant.
Okay, good.
Shouldn't she have laid her egg by now?
She's close.
I don't know what he is capable of. What I can tell you is that aside from being a vampire, I believe he is a collector of sorts. He has amassed a number of magical items.
Do you know what those items do?
I have guesses. They might be able to sway the minds of others around him. But again, it's hard to say what is powers intrinsic to him and what is powers of the objects he has.
Sheriff Cotton posted men outside your house.
Oh.
Do you know if he's compromised or is he trustworthy?
I don't know. I haven't spoken to the sheriff since this attack.
Well,
go ahead.
It is at this stage our ultimate goal to take Miller out of the picture. So we may need you to, if your sheriff is still within the bounds of reason, for you to remove him from play. Whether by talking to him, bribing him, or whatever it is that you can do.
So his Mary speaks up and says, I don't know where he is. I would have thought that he would have come to talk to me, but he didn't. Do you know what happened to Dr. Barton?
No, what happened to Dr. Barton?
Well, she's the one that attacked us.
What?
Yeah, she stabbed William, and she had come to examine me, stabbed him with a surgical knife.
So he has either turned her or somehow is controlling her mind, which means that anyone in Redemption could literally turn on us at any moment. Fun!
Mm-hmm.
Do you or your society know the best way to take down a vampire?
There are many suggestions, but what is often said is that you can't truly kill them. They can, in some fashion, transfer their essence when normally destroyed.
Well, I've heard things that daylight could kill them.
I've seen Percy Miller in the sunlight. It seems to have no effect on him.
True.
Holy relics?
He has some of those on display in his collection.
There are certain herbs, plants, garlic and wild type things of that nature.
I wouldn't put too much stock in that. I'm no herbalist myself. Silver, that's one thing I've heard. Silver weapons, silver bullets.
What about removing the head from the body?
Well, I mean, that seems prudent if you can actually hurt him in such a way that you can have access to that. But I don't know. I've heard stories that a vampire, when truly threatened, simply turns into mist.
What about oaken stakes?
Again, I feel like that would only be effective if you had already subdued him, but it is worth a try. We've been studying vampires for some time. The problem is the myths, no matter where you are in the world, are different. It's a question of what caused this affliction.
Has anyone here ever encountered a vampire directly in battle?
Your mother did.
Well, she was not in the best condition to give us vampire killing tips.
The first agent we sent against what I now believe was, in fact, Percy Miller, was armed with holy power. It didn't save him.
What about the feet of a chicken? I've heard that is useful against a vampire. Or running water.
I can't imagine that anything that can be easily acquired is going to do us a lot of good here.
Well, do you have silver bullets, Gemma?
I do not.
I wonder if
I don't even know if you can actually fire silver bullets. Silver is so soft, it would just come out as buckshot.
If only we had a shotgun.
If I have any silver knuckles.
I think at your level, you might be able to just make your strikes effectively silver, but I'd have to double check.
Yeah.
That is an ability that monks get.
Boy. Stay silver, monkey boy. What? I like the outsiders.
That's pretty good. That's good.
Oh, you're level shy. Tragedy.
Oh.
Heartless.
Hold on, we're gonna go grind into wilds for a while.
Yeah, we're gonna grind down some of the
We
red.
need to go up a level before we face Belial. So.
You know what? It works for me. I get access to 3rd level spells next level. So let's do it. Rats. Let's find them.
Go and collect me
boars.
25 rats and bring them to me. Now go across the room and pick up that box and bring it to me.
Let's finish that alligator training quest for Eshen.
We'll clear out the rats in the basement of the tavern. It'll be fine.
Well, I'm not sure we have time to really do much of anything. If you don't think we can craft silver bullets or...
I personally don't. It's not something I've tried. I don't use weapons to fight the supernatural typically. I perhaps if you spoke with the sheriff, he might have some access to things like that.
Oh no, the quest icon above his head turned into a question mark.
Is anybody among us a gunsmith?
No. Do we need to go try and find the sheriff?
I think it might be a good idea.
Okay.
If we don't know where. So right now, actually one of our biggest unknowns is Redemption's law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
If we can actually convince the sheriff to come over to our side on this, we might actually gain a significant advantage. And then we wouldn't have to fight it.
And even if we can't convince him, at the very least, we'll know which side he's on, and we won't be surprised.
That is true.
Is Dr. Barton being held in the sheriff's jail?
He looks to his wife. She's like, I'd assume so.
Okay.
Then that might be two birds with one stone if
I
we
agree.
can talk to her.
I agree.
So Palmer looks at the hanging judge and says, I wouldn't recommend going to the offices right now, or at
Agreed.
least for you.
Yes.
Yes, definitely not.
Might look around and see if I can gather any intel.
Like survey or scout the town?
Yes.
Okay.
Or,
who do you think, and this is just to everyone in the group, who do you think Miller would attack first? Or will attack first?
Out of
us who are going to go and fight him.
I think he would try to take out as many of us as possible. Do you mean if we all went our separate ways, who would he target first?
No, if we were all having the showdown with him, and he's going to either do a physical attack or a mental attack or a magical attack, I mean, who is he going to target first among us?
It would really depend on what his abilities are. If he, in fact, has the ability to turn and control the minds of other people, it would maybe make sense to take Eshen out first.
Do you think he can see through illusions?
I think you have to assume that it is my understanding that any illusion can be seen through if you are shrewd enough, and we have to assume that we're dealing with someone who has a lot of time to practice.
Yeah, I was just curious if it would be to our advantage if Eshen were to look like one of us who he might attack first to throw off and confuse him.
That is a strategy that we can certainly talk about.
But then which of you would look like Eshen?
Well, no, I mean, if there were two of us, he wouldn't know who to attack first.
Oh.
I mean, it is an interesting idea, but would your ruse extend to Eshen refraining from using his ghost turtles?
Well, it would only
the moment that Eshen pulled out a gun and blood started pouring from his eyes, he would probably know it wasn't actually
sure,
Eshen.
But I mean, if it was only enough to throw him off for the briefest of moments for the rest of us to attack, that might give us an advantage.
I'm sorry. You are operating on a lot of assumptions. You are making an assumption about who he would target first. You are making an assumption on his ability to be fooled by this, and you are making.
Well, and that's why I'm bringing this up now, so we can see if this is even something that's viable.
We don't even know what type of perception a vampire may have. I mean, he may. You can see straight through to a ghost, and not all of us can. I imagine that he may have the ability, or he could certainly have the ability to see straight through whatever illusions we have.
For that matter, he might be able to see whatever the slice of undeath lives within you, so dressing you up like Eshen might not do us any good.
I think
say there's also the fact that Eshen hasn't exactly been shown
visible.
To be what?
Visible.
Yeah. But yeah, as soon as combat happens, Eshen's guys usually drops. and he hasn't been particularly specific on details for his normal Who-man.
Well, then I think then we should go talk to the sheriff.
Palmer say, I will get cleaned up and see what assistance I can give you in keeping other parts of the town from interfering.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry I couldn't give you more information on what to expect, but I would tell you that not to underestimate Miller. You've made him desperate, and he is dangerous.
Desperate is good.
Well, we're glad that you are better.
Thank you.
There are 2 guys downstairs asleep.
Oh. Great.
One in the lounge and one in the porch.
I'll handle it. Good luck.
And to
Thank you.
We may hopefully see you again.
I certainly hope so.
Dun, 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 dun.
Meanwhile, across town.
Where to?
Sheriff's office, I guess.
I'll slink around.
Yeah, before the hanging judge peels off, I'll come over and be like, I assume that the fact that Eshen wandered back over to us, that it was not very helpful for me to send him with you.
He's not the most subtle being.
Right. Yes, I should have understood that you work better alone, but I really... I know that you are probably the most careful person I ever met, but I need you to be even more careful. If you are apprehended, that is a resource that our group cannot lose.
Agreed.
Good luck.
Yes, thank you. So, yeah, I'll generally make my way slowly, cautiously as I can. Try to see what I can see. And basically, I might try getting close to Miller's if I can do so without being in the open. If I don't see any, or see like what kinds of or numbers of people may be around.
All right, make me stealth and perception checks then.
All right. Stealth is good.
Nice.
Perception, ooh, pretty good.
All right, very cool. So yeah, you do not see again any of his workers. The town is still, as I said, like pretty quiet for this time of night. And as you start getting a little bit closer, you see there's a Miller's Manor is located relatively near his own railroad camp / tracks. And you can hear there's just like a ton of noise coming from the camp. Like there's clearly some work being done there.
Clang, clang. Thump, clang.
Although I would be curious what's going on that way, I do not want to risk. But the Miller's Grounds itself seems to be pretty quiet.
Oh no, Miller's Grounds are crawling with guards.
Okay, that's okay. That's kind of what I wanted to know. A significant number?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, at least.
I mean, there's like about a dozen, you know.
All right. That's
all armed with guns, and you're pretty sure you actually recognize some of them now from the party. You know, some of the people who were both there obviously as guards, and it's like, oh yeah, I know that guy was a waiter at the party, but is totally like a guy with a gun.
I see. Okay. Yep, that's kind of what I wanted to know, so I could let them know what kind of thing we're heading into, at least the first wave. All right. I will just kind of slink around and see, wait for them to show back up outside the sheriff's.
I think this is a good point to take a break in the action this week because, oh boy, I know what's coming up. And it's going to be brutal. Brutal, I tell you. So, thank you so much for downloading and listening to this episode of Critical Hit. If you enjoy this show and you want to show your thanks, then please head over to patreon.com/majorspoilers. Your small monthly contribution of even $5 a month is about $1.25 per show. That's a pretty good bargain. That's a bargain for me, I tell you what. In addition to keeping this show free and on the air, you also get access to a bunch of other stuff, including original art like, oh my gosh, this month, those of you that signed up in August are getting, wow, this really cool print. The conductor as an art print. Oh, it looks so good. It's going to be mailed to those people that qualify, and you can find out how you can qualify and a whole bunch more over at patreon.com/majorspoilers. That wraps it up for this week. Thank you so much. Podcast at majorspoilers.com. And until next time, here's hoping all of your dice rolls are critical hits.
This podcast is copyright 2017 by Major Spoilers Entertainment, LLC.